There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Rachel Zegler just faced one of the most brutal Hollywood moments imaginable, sitting in a nearly empty theater, watching her own movie, Snow White, flop in real time. And let's be clear, not even Discount Tuesday could save this one. So what went wrong? Why did the movie end up receiving severe backlash from fans? And what does this mean for the future of Disney's live-action remakes? Join us as we uncover the shocking details that changes everything. After the Snow White remake bombed at the box office, an old clip of Zegler resurfaced, and let's just say it hasn't aged well at all. In it, Rachel once confidently declared that people would line up to watch her films. But now, the only thing piling up are the receipts, and they're all pointing straight to Snow White being a total disaster. She passionately claimed that even with all her flaws and cracks, she hoped audiences would still show up to see her film. Fast forward to reality, and the only thing waiting in line now is the internet, hungry to roast her. Theaters nationwide were practically ghost towns, ticket sales were a disaster, and critics didn't hesitate to rip her apart.
Hello, Disney. You're going to have to redo your film again because this woman is a pig and you fired Gina Carano for far less than this nonsense.
According to insiders close to Disney, executives were already nervous about Zegler's controversial comments trashing the original Snow White, but instead of stepping in to shut her down, they just kept quiet and let her dig her own grave. Then, things took a turn for the worse. If Snow White's catastrophic box office numbers weren't already a disaster, the endless controversies surrounding Rachel Zegler are only making things worse. From the moment Disney cast her as the new Snow White, the internet went wild. Some critics were outraged by a Latina actress portraying the traditionally pale-skinned princess. Zegler, however, didn't hold back. In 2022, she admitted that all the buzz around her casting was because of the anger from a vocal crowd online. But here's the kicker. While controversy can sometimes boost a film's success, Snow White isn't benefiting from that magic. From the get-go, Zegler's Snow White was on the defensive, and her own remarks about the story didn't help matters. Disney had already suggested updates to the original, but Zegler's comments made it sound like she was flat-out rejecting the romance that made the classic so beloved. What really set people off, though, was when Zegler boldly claimed they were taking a different approach with the film. Critics slammed her for trashing the very movie she was meant to honor.
You guys, Disney's new live-action remake of Snow White debuted this weekend, and it's an even bigger dud than anticipated.
Arguing that Snow White, the first ever full-length animated Disney film, is a timeless classic for a reason, the debate was loud, and Disney clearly took notice. The very next day, they scrambled to respond, releasing a statement about their different approach to the Seven Dwarfs. But the backlash? It was swift and brutal. Fans took one look at Disney's CGI dwarfs and recoiled in horror. The photorealistic design was a complete flop, with critics accusing the film of focusing more on being woke than staying true to the characters in a way that felt real or engaging. Instead of capturing the quirky charm and liveliness of the original animated dwarfs, these digital versions came across as stiff, lifeless, and, let's be honest, downright creepy.
I know that you've told me before that your version of Snow White is different and it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White. What did you mean by that?
I mean, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so.
With a muted premiere, unrelenting backlash, and a box office performance that barely scratched the surface of its $270 million budget, Snow White wasn't just a fairy tale, it turned into a cautionary tale. Disney tried to put on a brave face, but the truth was impossible to ignore. The film's costly blunders were piling up. The disastrous opening weekend, paired with the firestorm over the casting, political comments, and behind-the-scenes drama, made it nearly impossible for the movie to bounce back.
It's just a total nightmare for the studios. So now she's trying to sell like, oh, I love Snow White. I love everything about the whole story. Here she is more recently trying to change the messaging. This is actually Wednesday.
And to everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her.
Oh my God.
And I can only hope
What does that mean?
that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
Controversy has swirled around Gal Gadot's new movie. also starring Rachel Zegler as Snow White. A lot of people don't like her. A lot of people don't like her either. She's got a big mouth. She talked trash about the original movie.
Neither of them make any sense for their roles. We've already covered how Rachel Zegler is a terrible choice for Snow White. Nothing about her says Snow White, and that's even leaving aside the fact that she openly detests the story, as she's said many times during this disastrous PR campaign. But Gal Gadot, who plays the Queen, the first problem is that she's the evil queen. The evil queen is supposed to be envious of Snow White's beauty, and that is just not believable. It is just not, even in a movie with magical mirrors and dwarves and all that, in a fairy tale, that strains my ability to suspend disbelief. I cannot buy that Gal Gadot is angry that she's not as beautiful as Rachel Zegler. I cannot buy that.
Studio, if you're a director, if you're a casting director, you've got to think twice or three times before hiring her. Listen, she's talented, she's attractive, she's got skill, but there are a lot of actresses in Hollywood who bring all that to the table and are not going to absolutely sabotage your work.
Now for Disney, as you probably remember, all of this publicity, the Zegler interviews, the Daily Mail leak, caused a lot of unexpected, for them anyway, pre-production problems. People weren't supposed to see and understand just how unwatchable the new Snow White was going to be. It was supposed to be, kind of a surprise, but now there was no hiding it.
So just how bad? The movie debuted in the United States at number 1 with $43 million. Decent, but not a blockbuster. And far below projections. Internationally, a similar story. Overseas, Snow White took in $44.3 million in its opening weekend, bringing the total to just $87.3 million, with a budget of around $209 million. That means Snow White is destined to be one of the biggest bombs in Disney history. It will not recoup.
But you're going to hire little people to play the dwarfs? That just seems like a step backwards. And then, of course, Disney instantly buckled and said, okay, we're going to add magical creatures. And then the picture of the magical creatures leaked online, and everyone just had an absolute blast laughing at it. So the magical creatures are here in the movie. The CGI dwarfs are here in the movie. It works to a degree, but it's certainly going to be a financial hit for Disney, that's for sure.
Agree that she's not as beautiful as Rachel Zegler. I cannot buy that.
I think it's fair to say that no one can stand the star of this movie.
But these guys at Disney, they're not that bright, they're not that smart, and we see that because they can't come up with any new IP. Why not write some new movies? You guys sit around, you have billions of dollars. They keep going back and rewriting the classic.
This is truly like, she has to go. I'm sorry, Disney. She has to go.
This is someone who is as entitled as, I don't need your business. You know what? Maybe Disney does. Maybe you're a tool, you're a pawn in this film. You didn't write it. You didn't direct it. You have nothing to do with the creation of Snow White. Right. You should shut up and do the job.
So much for being here. And to see this is really emotional for me, so I'm going to try to not do that. I love her, and her superpower is her heart. It's nothing supernatural. It's something that all of us have.
But this truly is the worst casting, maybe, in the history of the film industry. Has there been a film with worse casting than this? And I don't just mean the Snow White actress. Obviously, she's terrible, but both of them.
Now you have Rachel Zegler saying, that 1937 movie, that's just, it's tacky, it's weird, we're going to change all that.
And as the dust settles, the real question looms. How on earth did Disney mess this up so badly? The internet absolutely exploded over the Snow White disaster. Memes, viral videos, especially those roasting Zegler, spread like wildfire, and the backlash was brutal. Fans have been lighting up social media, expressing their disappointment that the film couldn't match the magic of Disney's previous live-action remakes. But it doesn't stop there. People are now seriously questioning the future of the Snow White franchise. With all the drama surrounding its production and release, many are wondering if Disney will ever dare revisit Snow White. Could this film be the final nail in the coffin for the live-action remake craze? Despite Disney's desperate attempts to fix the damage, it's tough to see how they can bounce back from such a massive blunder. Will Disney finally learn from this disaster, or are they just going to keep making the same mistakes with their future remakes? Only time will tell. The Snow White remake is destined to be remembered as a major warning shot, a stark reminder that even the most cherished fairy tales can get crushed by the ever-changing forces of modern Hollywood. And as for Rachel Zegler, it looks like the road to Snow White was paved with good intentions, but it sure led her straight into a PR disaster of epic proportions. So what do you think? Was Disney's Snow White remake a total disaster, or did Zegler's controversy hurt the film's chances? Share your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for further updates.